Insurance State Licensing Exam. ACA insurance plans must include coverage for preventive health drives including all of the following, except well-child care up to the age of 26. All of the following are prohibited form of advertising, except stating that we have been in business for over 50 years. For more information, contact a local agent. When it comes to health insurance underwriting and HIV/AIDS, which statement is true? Insurers can refuse to issue a policy based on HIV test results. In disability income underwriting, the single most important rating factor from an underwriting standpoint is the applicant's occupation. Which of the following is consistent with group health underwriting? Each member of the group is covered regardless of his or her health history. The superintendent has the ability and duty to do all of the following, except create insurance law. How many credit hours of continuing education must an agent with a major lines license complete every renewal period? 24/9 with 3 hours in ethics. Coverage for the following are optional in a medical expense plan, except mental illness and substance abuse. Wagering on a horse race or at the casino tables is known as what type of risk? Speculative. All of the following are exempt from Ohio's pre-licensing education requirements, except a lawyer. Regarding group health insurance, which is true? The plan sponsor is issued the master policy. Which is true regarding the advertising of accident and sickness insurance? When insurers advertise that a group endorses a certain health product, the public must be made aware of any control the insurer may have regarding the group. In Ohio, at the request of the insured, an insurer must offer a qualifying unmarried child coverage until age 26. Which of the following is true of Medicare Part A in terms of coverage? Helps pay for hospital care and skilled nursing facility care as an inpatient plus home or hospice care. An underscore is responsible for paying the policy's premium and has various rights as specified in the contract. Owner. A person who purchases a Medicare supplement policy cannot enroll in Medicare Part C. Which statement does not describe the Ohio Children's Health Insurance Program? Requires a premium for children from families with incomes up to 300% above the federal poverty line. The legal actions provision preserves the insured's right to bring suit against his/her own insurer, but the insured must wait at least days after filing a proof of loss before pursuing this action. 60. An agent who is subject to administrative action or criminal prosecution must report this situation to the superintendent within 30 days. Which of the following is not a mandatory uniform provision of an accident and health policy? Waiver of premium. With respect to dependent handicapped children, which of the following is incorrect? A handicapped dependent child may be covered under a parent's policy up to age 23. Is insurance provided by an employer to cover injuries that occur on the job only? Workers' comp. In Ohio, applicants for an insurance license must be at least 18 years of age. All of the following are sufficient grounds for disciplinary action against an agent, except issuing insufficient coverage to a client. Once the out-of-pocket limit has been reached, the ________________ provision kicks in and the policy will cover 100% of covered losses for the balance of the year. Stop loss. What type of disability income insurance provides funds to cover business expenses when the business owner becomes disabled? Business overhead expense. Under the provisions of the Patient Protect and Affordable Care Act, all of the following are true except: insurers are required to spend 65% of individual plan premiums and 75% of group plan premiums on claims. An insured may find it more difficult to qualify for benefits, but will enjoy a lower premium when a more restrictive definition of is found in a disability income policy. Disability. A long-term care policy typically provides daily benefits for 2 years, 5 years, to age 65 or lifetime. An insurer must file a notice of agent appointment with the superintendent within 30 days after the date the agency contract is executed, or the first insurance application is submitted, whichever is earlier. Which of the following is correct with regard to the requirements for inflation protection? The option for inflation protection is not required under life insurance policies that accelerate the death benefit. Which of the following statements about information privacy insurance regulations is false? Abbreviated notices may not be given. Louise purchased a disability policy when her salary was $4,000 a month. Later, she lost that job and her salary was reduced to $2,000 a month. 3 years ago, she became self-employed and now receives $3,500 a month. The maximum disability benefit she might expect will be based on which salary amount? $3,500. Which of the following products replaces lost income when one is unable to work due to a condition for which therapeutic and rehabilitative care services is often necessary? Disability insurance covers replaces lost income. What type of contract do commercial insurers traditionally market? Reimbursement. Which of the following might be done to protect against adverse selection when underwriting group medical insurance? Require a minimum percentage of the group to enroll. Which optional disability income insurance rider waives the elimination period if the insured is hospitalized and pays only when the insured is being treated as an inpatient? Hospital confinement. One of your clients just reinstated an accident and health policy. When is coverage effective? 10 days for sickness and immediately for accidental injuries. Which of the following covers the greatest percentage of the benefit cost of the plan under the Affordable Care Act? Platinum, 90%. Kirk has just reinstated an individual A&H policy that had lapsed and wants to know how soon coverage will be in effect for any accident or sickness. You, the agent, would say: accidents immediately, sickness after 10 days. Concerning PPOs, which is a true statement? The insured has a financial incentive to use providers who have agreed to predetermined reimbursements for medical services rendered. The Pregnancy Discrimination Act applies to groups with _________ or more employees. 15. PPO plans pay providers based on a discounted fee for service negotiated in advance. Which of the following statements is false regarding the changes brought about the PACA effective in 2010? Insurers prohibited from excluding pre-existing medical conditions for individuals age 19 plus. When a policy is mailed to an insured by an insurer, it is considered to be delivered. Which statement is incorrect regarding HMOs? HMOs must provide basic healthcare services including hospitalization, laboratory services, optical services, physical therapy, dental care, and preventive services. Which of the following is not a prohibited form of advertising? A side-by-side comparison of two policies issued by different insurer. All of the following are factors used in the calculation of health insurance premiums, except mortality table. All of the following statements are true regarding LTC policies, except they must require prior confinement in a hospital as a condition for payment. A short-term disability policy generally is for a disability lasting for not more than 2 years. An employer who has an open enrollment period 4 times during a policy period for group dental coverage might cause the insurer to have concerns about which of the following. Adverse selection. As part of the law's requirement that the superintendent periodically examine insurers, which of the following statements regarding these periodic examinations is correct? Insurers, directors, officers, agents and employees may be examined under oath. What percentage of employee participation is required for a contributory employer group plan? 75%. All of the following plans allow participants to roll over or retain benefit amounts remaining at the end of the plan year, except FSAs. If questions are incomplete on an application and the insurer issues the policy, a claim is covered since the insurer issued the contract based on an incomplete application. The principal objectives of a HMO include all of the following, except providing only inpatient medical care. How long is the free look period for a Medicare supplement policy? 30 days. A group of individuals comes together with the objective of obtaining a lower collective insurance premium. This would be disallowed. Group formation must be for a reason other than reducing the cost of insurance. Medicare is a federal program that is administered by the government. State. Which of the following is not part of the definition of insurable risk? The loss must be preventable. A firm with 50 employees replaces its existing group health plan. With regard to ongoing existing claims, the replacing insurer will be required to continue paying them under the no loss no gain law. All of the following are correct concerning partial disability, except partial disability payments are usually 75% of the total disability benefit. Which statement is incorrect concerning Part B of Medicare? Part B covers prescription drugs up to $1,500 annually. Home health care benefits under a LTC policy may be limited or excluded by excluding benefits for conditions caused by war or acts of war. Which of the following statements is false regarding required provisions for Medicare supplement policies? A Medicare supplement policy may not exclude pre-existing conditions for more than 6 months from the effective date of coverage. The policy or certificate may not define a pre-existing condition more restrictively than a condition for which medical advice was given or treatment was recommended or received from a physician within 12 months before the effective date of coverage. The following statements is true concerning the income received from an individually owned disability income policy. Premiums paid with after-tax dollars, income benefit not taxable. Which statement is false concerning credit disability insurance? The benefit may exceed the total amount of debt or the amount of monthly payment. A partial disability is defined as an individual unable to perform one or more duties of his/her occupation. Core benefits of Medicare supplement policies cover pints of blood. 3. Group disability income is usually offered only on a non-occupational basis, which will not cover work-related disabilities because work-related injuries are normally covered under workers' comp. In order to be issued a certificate of authority, an insurer must file all of the following, except a copy of the rates it plans to use. Veronica is a producer appointed as agent to ABC Insurance Company. When will Veronica's appointment automatically renew? Annual on July 1st. If a health insurance policy provision contradicts or conflicts with state law, that provision must be amended to conform to state law. What is the standard for determining insolvency in stock insurance companies? Unable to pay any bill when due, or liabilities exceed total assets, including capital or stock value. Which of the following has primary responsibility for ensuring that the application is filled out completely? Producer. In an agent asks to be excused from testifying in a department hearing on the grounds of self-incrimination, but the superintendent orders them to testify anyway. The agent's testimony cannot be the basis for any criminal charge besides perjury. All of the following are accurate statements, except GRU insurance normally covers occupational injury or disease. Which of the following is true concerning a medical expense policy for a family? It will continue to cover their unemployed 25-year-old child who is habitually unemployed. With regard to HIV testing, it is not an unfair insurance trade practice to disclose a positive HIV test result only to the applicant and the MIB. Major medical insurance coverage combines the features of the basic medical expense policies and a major medical policy into a single policy and includes reimbursement for covered expenses on a usual, customary and reasonable basis. Comprehensive. Abigail has a pre-existing condition noted in her new A&H policy. If she submits a claim for this condition within a specified time stated in the contract, what will the insurer do? Deny the claim. ABC Insurance Company is a business entity seeking an Ohio resident license. Which of the following is ABC required to do to be eligible for such a license? ABC must designate an actual person, a licensed individual agent, to be responsible for its compliance. Which of the following is false with regard to coverage for newborn children? Coverage for a newborn child begins 31 days after birth, starts on date of birth and continues 31 days after birth. The transfer of some or all of the financial risk of loss from one insurer to another insurer or insurers is best described as reinsurance, used to reduce their direct loss exposure for certain risks. A basic hospital expense policy provides coverage for the insured while confined to the hospital, covers expenses as an inpatient. What is the result of an insured not receiving a claim form within the time period allotted after submitting a notice of claim? The insured can submit a written proof of the loss, which is correct concerning Blue Cross and Blue Shield plans. They are service plans with benefits paid directly to the hospital or physician. Payment of the first premium and an application must be submitted to an insurer for individual coverage within how many days to convert group coverage to an individual policy not requiring proof of insurability? 31 days. A disability income policy has a period of deductibility immediately following a disability during which time benefits are not payable. This period is called an elimination period. A company owned by stockholders that does not pay dividends to policyholders is considered non-participating. The underwriting department of an insurer is charged with the responsibility of risk selection. A producer gathers information about the applicant for the insurer in order to avoid adverse selection. This is considered to be field underwriting. The act of appointment represents the insurer's certification that the appointed agent is suitable, competent, and financially responsible. When Peter, an independent contractor, purchased his own personal medical and dental insurance, he discovered that self-employed persons may deduct IP to 100% of the cost of health insurance for themselves and their dependents. A client requests a medical expense policy several months after you suggested to policy. The underwriter will most likely order which of the following: attending physician statement. All of the following groups are exempt from the Affordable Care Act's requirement to purchase coverage, except those who must pay less than 9.5% of their income for health insurance. Those who must pay more than 9.5%, even after subsidies, are exempt. It is at _________ who issues a certificate of authority enabling an insurer to conduct insurance business within a particular state. State Insurance Commissioner or Director. Hank was in the hospital last month for 2 days for which he received a check for $200. This month Hank was in the hospital for 5 days for which he received a check for $500. These checks are most likely benefit payments from the hospital income or indemnity policy. How many hours of CE must life and health agents complete in the state of Ohio? 24 hours every 2 years, due on the last day of their birth month. When must an insurer provide a Medicare supplement buyer's guide and outline of coverage? At time of application.